we're almost at 1,000 subscribers. I cannot thank you enough for this. If you're not subscribed, please consider doing so. It's free and you can always unsubscribe if you feel like it, and it helps me a lot. This time I'm not going to go into too much details because it's going to just take so much time. So without further ado, let's get into it.
I'm a very curious person. New learns. I love learning something new all the time. I don't feel imposter syndrome. I feel like I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be right now. Imposter syndrome is when you're posturing as though you know everything. Mm-hmm. You don't need to posture as though you know everything. It is perfectly okay for me as the founder and the owner of this company to say, sorry, what does that mean?
She doesn't posture as if she knows everything, and she asks for like other people's opinion. I honestly do not think she does. I feel like she does what she feels is the right thing to do. This is all my assumption, okay? I know nothing about her as a person, like real her, if there is something like that. And the cameras are off. What she is like, I don't know. And I don't know how she is with her team. But honestly, from what I've seen, I feel like it is impossible for her to be like asking people who actually know and take their advice. I feel like if she did that, she would have been more successful, in my opinion. I mean, it's not to say that businesses don't fail. Yes, they do. But at the same time, she has so many resources that she could utilize. And with that, even with that, if she is failing, the thing is, she's not even seeing these fails as fails. She sees them as learns, as she keeps saying, annoyingly so. And that is exactly why she doesn't have imposter syndrome, because if you had, I have an imposter syndrome. I know what it is. I know full well how it feels like you don't know what you're doing, even though you definitely do. No matter how good you are at what you're doing, you just cannot get away from that feeling that you're not good enough, you're not being perfect enough, which is obviously ridiculous, but it's the imposter syndrome that it is. You cannot really control it. I mean, you can't control it, but it's just there. So she, just because she doesn't see her fails as being fails, she doesn't have that imposter syndrome. She thinks that she's doing everything just fine, which many people would say she's not doing fine. But I don't know if she's lying to herself or her people are lying to her, or she's just surrounded by yes people. Yeah, she's just not seeing any of the mistakes that she's been making along the way, which is fine to do, which is saying that. But also at the same time, she doesn't see them, like, just because you see them as learns doesn't mean that they are not mistakes, Two things can be true at the same time. Those are fails, but you are learning from them at the same time. It is so funny to me that a person with such a victim mentality trying to reclaim their mistakes as learns, she obviously has a victim mentality. She wants to be a victim. I think that is obvious, clear as day, that she always wants to be a victim. A person who has that mentality trying to, like, I would have thought she would take her mistakes or fails as things that happened to her as a victim. Like she would say, I would have expected her to say, oh, just because I'm standing my ground, using my voice, people are tanking my business or blah, blah. I don't know. It's just, victim mentality. I would have expected that from her. At least it is not the case.
I have a small and mighty team for my office. Separate team for With Love Meghan. That's a crew of about 80 people.
So I can't get you on that one because I don't know a business that I've had where,
When she makes those noises, like, woo, like, why are you doing that? You don't have to do that. Every wording being exactly the same, it's just, I just don't like that. Like, oh, crew of 80 people. Everything sold out in 45 minutes. It's just like, oh, it's a bullet point, like talking points. Let's say the exact same wording all the time. It's just tiring.
Who's supported me for a long time and want to be able to get it, or the 15-year-old girl who's saved up her money to be able to buy a couple of the offerings that we have.
15-year-old girl who saved up her money, she's not going to buy your stuff. You're a 40-year-old woman who was popular back in the day. Now 15-year-old girls, like you don't serve, like your aesthetic that you think is trending is not actually trending. Since I've started making Meghan Markle videos, the average age range went up in my videos because like younger people do not care about her. Gen Z doesn't care about her, and she doesn't even know that.
I'm gonna
Do you
lie.
cook?
I am such a cook, like such a cook. But I cook, it's like
type of things. But I don't get to cook nearly as much as I want. But I look at you and I feel like it feels like you're getting so much joy out of this. But it's an interesting thing when it's something that you love so much.
but there's also huge ambition around it. And I wonder, when you think about the way you've set up this partnership, is that structure going to work for you as you go forward? Do you think there's a time you're going to have to go out and raise capital?
Potentially. It depends on what we want the growth trajectory to look like. But I think, and all the contracts and logistics surrounding it have really set up what the future can look like together.
So Emma is actually a business-minded person, and she just finished talking about cooking, how much she loves cooking, but she immediately, to the question, when she's asking the question, she immediately moved the conversation into the business side. And you can see the change on Megan's face. Like, when Emma is talking about cooking, Meghan is glowing. I think she actually loves cooking and finds joy in it. I think that is true. It's just that the fact that she's always aware of cameras, I think that makes her a little less authentic in her words. But I do believe that she actually loves cooking. And then Emma is talking about asking something about business. Megan's face changes and she repeats the same words all the time. Like, so many years, this partnership we've had for so many years, blah blah. It's the same words over and over and over again. I'm like, aren't you tired from talking about the same things? Anyways, let's continue.
Thank you.
When you think about the failure rate for first-time entrepreneurs, does that ever concern you? Have you even let your mind go there?
I do not think about failing. No, that's not an option.
I'm not afraid of failing, and that is not an option. That is a luxury a rich person has. She doesn't care about it because it ultimately doesn't do much to her future. If she fails at one thing, she will try and build another thing with the learns that she had along the way and with the incredible team of people who are actually experts, while we as normal people, we are trying to be the marketer, the creator, the influencer of everything that we are doing. We fell short on something, and that just derails the whole thing. And the learns we have is nothing compared to the money investment that we put in. That is not there anymore. Like it's gone. Once we fail, it's gone. And it'll be God knows how many years that we can build up the same amount of investment that we can put in if we fail the first thing that we tried. And I'm not saying that she shouldn't be I'm not saying that she should come from poverty for us to appreciate her work. No, it's not like that. Like, you can be rich and start your own business and become richer. Good on you. Good luck, do whatever you want, but don't act like you're changing the world, being a working mom and doing something that nobody can do. There are people who have done the same thing, maybe even more, starting from poverty. So her acting like this is just annoying to me.
I'm going through, my faith is greater than my fear.
No, your bank account is greater than your fear.
At that time, there were certainly not a lot of mixed race parts.
Really?
No.
Really?
No, there weren't a lot of, if I was going in for an audition, it was either, you have to remember, this was a very different time than it is now. It was girl next door. That was typically blonde-haired, blue-eyed, and a certain look.
Fair.
But because I'm half white, I would also be submitted for those roles. And then if it was a character that had any sort of ethnicity, there was always a bit of a edge to those characters, but I'd be submitted for those roles. And I also, to a lot of people in casting, they thought I was Latina. So I share that because, and I've shared this before, it was a numbers game. If I'm only up for 10 parts, that could be 10 no's. But if I'm up for 30 parts, because I can fit into so many different rooms, that could be 30 no's. That is a lot to chip away at your self-esteem. That is really hard.
Before she was saying she could audition for only so much, and now she says she was even, she could even pass as Latina character. What is this girl on? And getting 30 no's is difficult for her. Boo-hoo.
I wonder if you could rewrite your public narrative from scratch. Is there anything that you would do differently?
Yes, I would ask people to tell the truth.
So I think it is obvious to everybody that she gives out the questions to the interviewers. She knows what the questions will be and she knows how she's going to answer them. This time, the millisecond that she took to answer that question, I think she should have maybe waited a little bit longer, at least like act like she was thinking about the answer.
Differently?
Yes, I would ask people to tell the truth.
She's been waiting for this question to be asked, it seems like. I'm not even going to touch on the answer itself. I'm only talking about the manner that she answered the question, because everybody else has already covered what that means, what her answer means in this situation. The manner that she gives off such a vile aura in this, like such a vile vibe in this clip. Like, what the fuck do you mean? Like, why like, and she just said before this question, she said, let people remember you, let people in the room remember you.
Don't try to book the part, book the room. Meaning it doesn't matter if you don't get that role. You might not be right for it. You might remind the director of an ex-girlfriend that broke his heart. It could be any number of reasons. It's not about the part. You're going to see those producers and those casting directors at so many other opportunities. Book the room. Let them see that you're talented. Let them see you have something to bring to the table.
Is this how you want to be remembered? This hostility, do you want this to be remembered about you? Because that is actually what we think about you. Before, like, she has such a beautiful face. She has such a friendly face. And you think she's like a kind person. You think she's like actually what she says, like friend. What was the term? Friend next door, girl next door. She actually looks like girl next door. But the more she talks and the more you get to know her opinions about stuff, the more evil she looks. In my opinion, her face didn't change. She's still beautiful, but her inner monster, if I may say, comes out, and you see how vile she is.
But she told me years ago, a lie can't live forever. 8 years is a long time, but not forever.
8 years is a long time. You see how also people are talking about how in discomfort she looks when Emma started talking about and praising Serena for her accomplishments. And then Meghan added to those points, and then going back to the lie, she told me a lie can't survive, whatever she said. First of all, what lie? It's just the recollections that may vary. Paraphrasing the late queen. Emma saying that, I cannot I cannot take the fact that people would lie about me and I be silent about it. I would like to show blah blah. I'm like, how much do you know about Meghan? Meghan didn't even know basic facts about you. So that tells me that you're not really friends. And how do you know what the media is saying is a lie? It's just obvious to me that Meghan had some points for them to say, and they are just saying it. And
Your own, you have to be authentic.
Just be authentic. Did you see my baby mama dance?
I mean, stop it. First of all, can I just
she brought up the mama dance herself. Like, it is embarrassing to start with, and now her bringing it up herself is like, oh, she's reclaiming the narrative. No, babes, there's no going back from that. That was so embarrassing. There is no going back from that.
But
kind of
also,
thing?
by the way, that wasn't yesterday.
No, true.
That was 4 years ago.
That wasn't yesterday. That was 4 years ago. Behind the cameras, behind the scenes, that's been always happening. You just didn't see. Girl, the fact that you filmed that and kept it all these years just to share it, if the moment you share it, it loses its privacy and the reason for it being filmed for your family purposes. You know, I shared a lot on my Instagram. I share a lot. I feel like by sharing it, I don't mean to show off to people that I live a normal life. I don't even know what she was thinking about sharing that. But there are some moments that you do not share. I never share how I celebrate special days, because that's none of people, like, that's nobody's business but mine and my like whoever I'm celebrating with. I never share my birthday. I never celebrate, like, I never congratulate my husband or like my sisters on my Instagram, because I tell it to them. I don't need to showcase to everyone that, oh, look, I congratulated my sister or my husband on their birthdays. No. Like, there are some things that you just don't share. Like, I will share like the deepest, darkest moments when I'm spiraling, but that is my thing that I feel like sharing. But sometimes I will not do that because I just don't think that it will be helpful to me. I do it when I think it is going to help me. Like, anyway, it's like mental stuff is just a little bit complicated. But again, when it is involving somebody else, and it's a huge thing in our lives, I feel like there is no point in sharing with other people. Like, what am I accomplishing it by sharing it with other people that I congratulated them on my stories? Like, why would I do that? And many people do it. I don't, like, do whatever you want. I just don't do it because I feel like it's unnecessary for me and my family. And that's the first thing that popped into my mind. There are some other things that you would share, and there are some things that you may not want to share. Again, the moment you share that private moment of your life and cringe, let me add that because it is objectively cringe. The moment you share that, it is now out there. Like, it doesn't matter how many years ago you filmed that. You filmed it for a reason, and that is the reason. Just for you to share and tell us that, oh, I kept that for so many years. The ball was on my court, basically. And now you're seeing it because in that moment, I was living in the moment. No, you were not living in the moment. You saw a trend, which you claimed that you were not on social media. You saw a trend, and you were pregnant at the time. So you saw a trend and tried to recreate it for what? For you to share it someday in the future. We know, like, we are not dumb. We know what's happening. It feels liberating, she says.
They could give back or...
And you're saying you were purposeful with that?
Of course. There's intention.
Mama asks, "Oh, you were intentional with your clothes," and she's like, "Of course, of course." Like, add, "Are you dumb?" The only thing she didn't say was, "Are you dumb?" That tone, just say, "Are you dumb?" and be done with it. And I'm not gonna touch more on the part where she says, when my children's clothes were being marketed and affiliate linked, whatever, because that was uncomfortable, and she was the one who was advertising what Princess Catherine and Prince William's children were wearing. She would put links to those clothes. She would do that, but when it comes to her children, it's uncomfortable. The irony is just uncanny, is just blinding. But I'm not going to dwell more on that.
Be involved in what you allow yourselves to get involved in. Was that a part of your, was it part of what you were thinking about as you started bringing all these things together?
There was a lot of, again, flying the plane while you're still building it, but always at its origin, being so value aligned with what my husband and I believe in.
I would so much wish for it to be true that she actually values that and she actually shows up with those values, like supports that. But the other actions that she did for so many years in royal family, it's just, how when you do let's say when you are a really good friend and you do so many good things for your friend, and like without even expecting it to be done to you, you're just a good person and you do things out of your own will, and then this one thing happens and you fuck up and you put that person in a bad situation or whatever, and that one bad negative thing will stick out all the time, even though, like, no matter how much good you did in your life. It is sad, but it is true. That's how things happen, I guess. It's just how it is. And the fact that the negative thing she did was so consequential, like it was so big, and it is like she basically tore apart a family. Now Harry cannot go back to his family and be actual family with them. They have to hang out with A-list celebrities that they don't even care about. This I like the value of family, like she doesn't understand it. Harry did, maybe, but royal family does understand it, and they try to protect each other and they try to be together. What she did was so big that no matter how good of a person she is outside that, it just erases everything else. Like, if you think it's unfair, just don't be a bad person. Don't fuck up this much. Like, and she had so many opportunities. Like, if you fuck up once, it's fine. Like, you're a human and you can fuck up. But if you keep doing it, double down and triple down and do it even more, now that's on you. And after that, no matter how much you keep saying, "Oh, I'm happiest I've ever been and I love being thoughtful, I am kind," is he kind? Like, you were not even kind. Like, him being kind didn't even do you any good. To my point, no matter how kind of a person you are or you believe that you are, it doesn't matter after what you've done. No matter how many times you say that it is the case, we just don't believe you anymore.
That she does not need to shy away from a conversation that a man would comfortably have.
Mm-hmm.
And ultimately, especially as moms and as working moms, you want that to be part of the modeling that you do for your daughter.
Yes.
She is, again, putting her daughter before her son, which is a breath of fresh air, actually. Usually people are boy moms. They like value their boys more than their girls for some stupid reason. This is actually a little bit different. But again, you do not favor a child. If you're going to favor one over the other, don't have a second one. Please don't. this is stupid. Like you cannot do that. And I understand that there is always a comparison. It is just a subconscious thing. There's always a comparison, but you are not allowed to do that socially, emotionally, any Ellie, and let alone you say that so clearly on so many interviews. Those children will grow up and see all of these, and I am like 99% sure that they're going to this what's the word, like they're going to try to get away from this family, and they will try to go back to the British family, because this is not okay. Like I don't know. I just hope maybe it would be better that they divorce. Harry gets all the custody for the children, and they go back to the royal family, and they just live their lives over there, and Meghan does her whatever business ventures she wants to do, because those children being away from the other family members, like those two children have so many cousins and so many family members, but they get to see none of them. It's just so sad, in my opinion.
So does it mean it won't come back? No, but I would love to bring the show back when I am at a different end.
Now she's saying she wants to bring back the podcast when she's through some points. What was the thing that where you said, I want to do this as I am, I want to do this as I am building the plane, as she says. What happened to that? Once you are through the hurdles and everything is said and done, then you come and tell us what's the point. I understand that some things you cannot share until it's done. That is normal. But your selling point, what your confession of your female founders was different than the other confession podcasts, was that you are building it as you are doing the podcast. So you're talking about the stages of your building process on your podcast. That was the selling point, no?
Well, I think that focus is an absolute necessity when you want to be successful, right?
Yeah.
Like just doubling down and being excellent at what you're trying to do is just one of the most simple and powerful things that you can do in business. Like just giving everything to one thing. And it's so difficult when you have so much opportunity, right? When seemingly everything's coming at you and you know, it's like you're the...
Emma is saying when you're doubling down and putting everything into one thing and making it perfect, Meghan's like dead eyes. It's not dead eyes, she's like taking notes in her brain, I think. She's like, oh, I need to double down and do one thing at a time. It's just clicking it for her now. It's just clocking. Again, it's clocking it right now. She's standing on business.
No, you have to do what you want to do.
What feels right
you
for
have
you.
to do the thing that makes your heart sing in the morning. For me, it's like, I don't want to volunteer, so I don't.
See, Meghan is saying, oh, I do all the things for my kids. I volunteer, blah, blah. And Emma is like, oh, you make me feel so bad. I don't volunteer. And Meghan is like, you can start. And she says, no, I don't want to. Like, this is authenticity. What Meghan does is trying to look good and trying to look that she, like, I don't believe a single word Meghan says, but I believe everything Emma says. So I was watching Lost Beyond Pluto. That was the channel. She talked about the background of Emma, and she had she was not a fan of Emma per se, and just because it was mainly because she married into money, and that's how she built her business. And I will say, obviously it would be more honorable maybe if you're starting from scratch, from poverty yourself, but there is nothing wrong with working with the money you already have, or if you happen to be married into money and you are utilizing what you have, I see nothing wrong with it. And if Meghan was building an empire with the money that she married into, I would have zero problems with that. But what she did was married into the money. She grabbed that money bank and ripped it apart, and now she's trying to do something with it. But like Emma apparently married into money, and she's still in that family. What I'm saying is that just because she married into money, that doesn't mean she is less of a business-minded person, or she's less deserving of all the successes she has. She had the resources, and she used them. She used them very wisely. Meghan had the resources. She is trying to use them wisely. She is failing so far, but she is doing something at least. So maybe along the way, she will improve her learns and do more with the resources she has.
Valuation that I put on time with my family
Yes.
is so high.
It's critical.
It matters so much to both my husband and I that, I just wouldn't trade that for anything. And so I think it's really important to have that conversation with yourself, especially if you're ambitious, to say, all of these things are exciting to me and I can do all of them well enough.
Now founder, what do you think the common thread was with the entrepreneurs that you interviewed in terms of like successful founders, the way they think about strategy? Did you find anything that you were like, they all have this?
They all, no matter their background, they all were incredibly focused. They all have regrets. They all have regrets. Most of them regretting not spending more time with their family.
They all have regrets, but I don't. This whole podcast just said, I don't see anything as failure. Now she's saying, oh, they all have regrets. And then she says they all regret not spending much time with their families. And she's like, oh, my family comes first for me. And Emma just said that she doesn't do much with her with her children's school stuff. And this is like subtle dig at her saying that. And Meghan is like, oh, see, I spend a lot of time with my family, but you don't.
Thank you.
What are you most proud of in your career when you think about everything that you've done today?
In my career?
Yeah. In your career and your business life, if you like.
Investing in myself.
She actually has done, after breaking apart from the royal family, or breaking apart the royal family, she has done a lot. So she has built her own portfolio. And then she says, what have you learned from all these things? And she said, bouncing back, because when you're trying to build something and it doesn't go to the plan, which means fails, and she doesn't see anything as failure. And she says, oh, I bounce back because I had such a elaborate plan and it didn't work. So I have to bounce back and start doing other things. I would say that, like, I actually applaud her on that, no matter... like maybe that's the lack of imposter syndrome. Like after a couple of fails, I would be like, I would need a lot of therapy just to start to believe in myself. But she bounces back, and again, it's the financial backing that she has, that she's so comfortable bouncing back from one project to another. But at the same time, like thinking about the personal side of it, like she doesn't take things personally, as she said, like people, most of the time women do, that they take things personally. Apparently she has learned to not take the failures personally, which is good. Like, I wish I had that. It is actually a good thing that you don't fall apart after one singular failure. So it is actually good.
And that gives you the Oprah sweats like I got.
Oh gosh, there's so many people in business, male and female. We talked about Melody Hobson. I admire her so much. Her business acumen. I think there's probably too many to count. And a lot of it also comes down to, there are going to be people that are so well known, and then they're close friends that value their privacy in a different way, that I want to say their names so badly right now. But
she says, is there any idols that you have? And Oprah is my idol. And then she asks, do you have, like, I sweated so much, like, does anybody give you sweat like I had with Oprah? Like, this is authenticity. Like, no one in her stature would like, I don't think it is usual that person her size, like with the business ventures, she would say things like that, because it's like you have to put yourself on top of a mountain, I guess, and people would respect you. Yeah, I don't agree with that, but it is how it is in this world. You can't be too much personable, I guess, but she doesn't shy away from that, which is actual authenticity, in my opinion. She says, oh, there are so many people and so many to count. First of all, that is a number one thing that tells me that there is no one that she sees as an idol. And then she's like, oh, I value their privacy, so I wouldn't say their names. You're all on the same, basically, same level. Like, why wouldn't you say their name? And the more you are showing them as your idol, in a business sense, other people would take that as like advertisement. So how is that respecting their privacy? No, you would help their business if you say their names. So that just tells me that there is no one that she sees as an idol. So yeah, that just shows her narcissism even more.
Really, really teachable. What's something that you valued when you were starting out that you no longer value?
It's not that I no longer value it, but decision by committee. Meaning, when you're like, do you think it's good? 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 Do you like that? Do you think it's good? Mm-hmm. Well, if you start asking everybody all the time, you will be dizzy.
Decision by committee, because you're going to get dizzy with all the answers, which I can see her point. But again, this coming from her, it just rubs me the wrong way, because we think, as it is, we think that she doesn't take any advice from anybody. So, and by saying that, even with sugar coated, we can see the depth that answer goes into. That was it. There was so many other points that I wanted to touch on, but they were smaller things that I didn't like. There's no point in talking about that. We all know she's a terrible person. Deep down, even though deep down she wants to be a kind person, like, I don't know, the narcissism takes over, I guess. I don't know. I refuse to believe that someone would be unkind on purpose. I feel like there's something wrong in like chemically wrong up there for you to be unkind. And I feel like narcissism is also a disorder, so I guess there's something chemically wrong up there, and I don't know if you can actually cure it. I guess maybe I should research about it before talking BS. I don't know. Anyways, like, maybe she could have worked on it. Like, she's 40. Like, she should work on it and like at least cover things. Like, when you say that I'm authentic, you don't need to actually show your narcissism to everyone. Hot take. But yeah, I don't know. I guess that is all from me. I don't have much else to say. I wish all the happiness to Harry and their children, because they're gonna need it. They actually need our prayers. I don't even believe in any religion. I just wish to all the gods of all the religions that they protect those three from Meghan and her wrath. That'll be all. And thank you for watching. Support me via my Etsy store, I guess, if you wish. And you can even support me by subscribing and watching the whole video and like and commenting. And yeah, that helps me a lot. Thank you so much for watching until the end. And if you stayed until the end, put a cat emoji, and I will see you in my next video. Thank you. Bye.